Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Board of Commissioners meeting for the New Bern Housing Authority. I'm calling it to order now, and to begin, may I have a roll call?
Commissioner Bingle.
Here.
Commissioner Coghill. Commissioner Copeland.
Here.
Commissioner King.
Here.
Commissioner Pierce.
Here.
Commissioner Reddick.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
Is Commissioner Coghill on Zoom? If someone is new 7Y, is that Commissioner Coghill?
No, this is Pastor Linda.
Okay.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Okay, do we have any public comment?
Madam Chair, no one contacted me about the time frame for public comment.
Okay. Any staff comments? Okay, so, the first thing, or the next thing on our agenda is the approval of our minutes from October 2025. Whenever you're ready, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I have one addition to the minutes, and that is to include your welcome of Ms. Kimberly White to our board introduction, and I've already given that information to Ms. Stephanie. And I'll make a motion that we adopt the minutes with the addition of the welcome of Ms. White.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Anyone have any questions concerning the minutes from October 2025? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is our finance report. We're ready whenever you are, Shanes.
Yes, so the first report is the balance sheet. And just to bring up some stuff from the finance meeting, there was a question concerning the accounts receivable from the tenants. And if you were to look at the reports from the property, the numbers may have some differences in them, and that's because of some timing. Does anyone have any other questions related to the balance sheet? Okay. The next report is the Ross grant. The Ross grant just started for the new time, which started June, and some of the prior grant is also included in the year-to-date information. Was there any other questions for the Ross report? Okay. The next report is the Trent Court report. Does anyone have any questions for the Trent Court report? Okay. And then next we have the New Bern Towers report. Does anyone have any questions on the New Bern Towers report? Okay. Here's the cash lead report. Does anyone have any questions on the cash lead? Okay. Next, we have the grant summary. One thing to note here, the start date and the end date for the Ross grant has not been updated. It will be updated for the next report, but the start date should be June 2025. And it's a 3-year grant. Any questions on the grant summary?
The only other comment I'll add is hopefully with the government open Now we will have shortly the 2025 money put into the portal for our capital fund program. And then we'll be able to show that going forward.
And I did have a question, on the operating subsidy, that there was approximately 350 in there. And I asked, should it be spent by 12/31, and no, it's carryover, correct?
Well, no, we'll draw it down.
We'll draw,
by
so that
year.
brought into the account.
Yeah, so basically, you can.
Difference in drawing it down and spending.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can either reconcile it on a monthly basis, where some housing agencies, excuse me. Some housing agencies just take 1/12 of the subsidy amount and draw it down on a monthly basis. Some agencies just wait if they have enough funds in operations and draw it down every 6 months. So there's no specific rhyme or reason. You can choose which you desire. And so what we will do is we are a December 31st year end. And so we'll draw down the remaining $300-some thousand before the end of the year.
Thank you.
And most of that was drawn down in November. Okay. And last, we have the investment statement. This is as of the end of October. Does anyone have any questions on the investment statement? Okay, that was my last report.
Okay, if there are not any more questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the finance report.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Is there still a presentation?
No, so, Madam Chair, normally we would present a budget for 2026 starting in January. However, prior to my tenure here, and your tenure as board members, a decision was made by the authority and is required by North Carolina law. It's not necessarily required by HUD, but a requirement by North Carolina law is that we have a 30-day public notice period of our budget. So we are in that 30-day public notice period. We will have the full board approval at our December meeting. So we're just making notation today that we're in the public notice period for our budget for 2026.
I think we should note too, for the record, that we did hold a public hearing as well this afternoon and no one attended.
Yes.
So we did have a
Okay, next we'll have our executive director's report.
So, Madam Vice Chair stole a little thunder, but that's okay. So we did have.
Sorry.
No worries, no worries. So just for the good of the public information, we did have a public hearing for our 2026 capital fund program at 3:30. It was duly noted, and for anybody in the public to attend, nobody attended the public hearing. And so we left it open for 10 minutes. And then because of no attendance, we closed it at 3:40. So that information is available. The master development agreement with HRI, Jamie and I are still working through some of the proposed changes that came from the co-developer. And our goal is to present that to you all at the December meeting. So I just wanted to make you aware of that, but we're still.
anything that we should be concerned about, or is it just lawyer stuff you gotta?
Well, there are some proposed changes that they made to our draft to them as it relates to the percentage and terms and conditions of the partnership. And we will present those to you all
In December.
in December, trying to work through some of those now.
It's not holding us up in any way, is it?
No, they're still working with us and so it's not hindering. I think there are things that we can collectively get through. As it relates to Newbury Towers, we've been waiting on the final report, on the PCNA, which is the physical needs assessment that we're undergoing, for Newbury Towers. The architect indicated, last week that the consultant that's putting that report together is a national firm. They specialize in this type of work. They should have us that report, by first part of December. And so we'll have it for presentation, again during the December timeframe. And so, that will be pretty extensive, and I would encourage, we will get the report out to the board well in advance. And, once you get it, if you have any questions, which I think you will, please feel free to give me a call. Okay. Just for the record, if three or more, if 4 of you all, gather, it is considered a quorum, and therefore we have to duly note that as a public meeting. So I try to, if you want to meet with me, I try not to have those discussions, anything pertinent with more than a majority of the board. So just want to make sure that you are careful. If I say no, we need to go below a certain number, but if we go over above a certain number, then just know I need to publicly notify and publicize that it's a formal meeting. So, okay, all right. Also, we had a phone call, with FEMA, and SHPO in October. There was a lengthy discussion between us and FEMA related to some of the items that we were working on with them. They still we presented a full-blown, as you all know, we went through a year-long process of developing a master development agreement. We submitted that to FEMA and the North Carolina State Historic Preservation Office. It also went along with a letter of support coming from the local Historic Preservation Commission here in New Bern. And we submitted all of that information to both of those entities, with hopes that they would accept that as sufficient information to allow us to move forward with demolition of Trent Court. Reluctantly, they made a decision to say it's still not enough of full-blown drawings, specs for what we plan to put back. And so I want to put in perspective for you all. To tear Trent Court down, as you all know, we're looking at a phase.
Just modify that statement. I want to make sure it was public. To tear down the damage.
Yeah.
The flooded.
The flooded buildings, I would rather, for
Yeah,
the record,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
So the first phase of what we're talking about is, as Vice Chair indicated, our simple request is to allow us to demolish the flood damaged buildings that have been sitting there vacant since 2018. That's all we're asking for, okay? So because it's in a historic preservation district, there are a lot of federal requirements when something is in a historic preservation district. And so therefore it triggers certain requirements. So what they basically are saying is, when you tear down something in a historic district, they want to know what's going back. Well, we gave, through this year-long process that we went through, we gave them the designs, we gave them the plans, we gave them everything that we were working on. But they specifically want full-blown drawings, specs, designs, everything. Well, just to be able to tear down, demolish the flood damaged buildings. So the difficulty is that is a multi-year, potentially a 10-year plan to redevelop the 2 off sites, which we're looking at right now as the Days Inn site and the FR Dennis West School site as partial redevelopment of what we're gonna put back. As you all know, we also want to go after CNI, which is the Choice Neighborhood Initiative. The requirement on the Choice Neighborhood is that you have to build back 100% of what was originally there, plus times 2 plus 1. So that's 218 times 2 plus 1. So our plan shows that to be able to meet that requirement when we apply for CNI. So therefore, in order to do that, you then have to have multiple sites, identified sites to be able to present your plan, which we did. So there's no way for what we know is gonna go back, because we still have 110 units still occupied at Trent Court. So there's no way we can know until we demolish phase 1, and then we don't have anywhere for the families that are residing in Trent Court to go until we build something else. So we gotta build something else, and then we can demolish those units, and then we can present a plan of what the full Trent Court would look like with full plans and specs. Well, ultimately, that's the last phase of development on that site, which would probably be somewhere between year 8 and year 10. So there's no reason or way to have full plans and specs today. So I'm upset.
So is this SHPO pushing FEMA or is it FEMA pushing SHPO?
So here
Are they
is,
equally hateful?
well, here's the frustrating part. So during that call, the whole reason we went forward more immediately with what we're doing is because during that call, SHPO made certain statements and FEMA went along with it a year and a half ago. During the October 7th meeting, when we were going over all of this with FEMA and sharing that, FEMA raised their hands and says, oh, it's not SHPO that makes those decisions, it's us. And so we were like, well, wait a minute.
You shouldn't tell us that.
Yeah,
A year ago.
we went through this whole process because SHPO stopped it and you all went along with it. And now you're telling us a year and a half later that you're the ones that's driving this train. So in a nutshell, I have before you, since that phone call, I contacted, Baker Donaldson. Our law firm at Ward and Smith has worked with them before. Baker Donaldson is one of the premier law firms in the country. They specialize in FEMA related work. The attorney that started Baker Donaldson at one point in his career was the general counsel for FEMA, as well as several of the attorneys on that team. So they have experience in working and understanding the nuances of what goes on with the FEMA regulations, as well as our attorneys at Ward and Smith. So what I'm asking and have before you all tonight that we'll get to under resolutions is I'm asking for your permission. I've got other quotes, but I'm asking for you all to authorize me through resolution to contract with Baker Donaldson up to a max amount of $90,000, which is proposed in their original agreement. And then we would work with them and our attorneys at Ward and Smith to help us facilitate our goals of getting the FEMA team to understand, because they threw out some regulatory reasons of why they can't do certain things, and we don't necessarily agree with those per se. But at the same time, we think that there are ways, and they feel like there are ways that we can work together to bring some resolution to this. And so we're asking for, so I'll be asking, for your support. Any questions from anybody at this time?
Just up to 90.
Up to 90,000, yes, that would be the max that you would only authorize at this time. And that keeps us within our procurement threshold, so that's what I'm asking for your permission.
So my question right now, how does Valerie fit into all this? Because we hired her as our FEMA consultant.
Yeah.
So is it that she's gone now and we're not gonna pay her anymore, or?
No. Valerie continues, she was as shocked as we were when they came back. She has followed all of the regulatory requirements and has done an excellent job in being able to facilitate that. So this is more on the legal side beyond,
So is our end game then to sue them? If, I'm just want to understand what our end game is, because if we're paying a consultant and now we're bringing in legal, because the only thing that happens when you bring in legal is you spend more and more money. I'm
Yeah.
being upfront about it.
no.
Sorry, Cliff. Jim, sorry.
No, I'm not in disagreement. I think this helps, Baker Donaldson was recommended by
Their
Valerie because,
reputation precedes them.
because Valerie's worked with them before, when they've gotten to situations, and they made it clear that when they've gotten to certain situations that, in the past, that they were not able to get beyond some of the technicalities that FEMA was bringing up from a legal standpoint, even though she disagrees with it and brought those programmatic issues up. And let me be very clear, they agreed with her on the conference call of what she brought up during that call with FEMA, those concerns. But I think at this time, we need that expertise of that legal counsel to go along with what Valerie is helping us with. Now, let's just be candid. Part of that process to go up to $90,000 is those type firms are not cheap.
No,
Yes,
they
you
are not. That's what I'm asking.
And their hourly rates
You got hourly rates here.
Yeah.
their hourly rates are pretty extensive, and so that's why I'm only asking you all for the limitation to go up to $90,000 at this time. And I think that hopefully we can be able to resolve that.
I just wanna make sure for the record, look, we have come way too far to go backwards now. And I just want to know where we head, because sometimes this just becomes a hole that you dig.
Yeah.
And you just keep throwing stuff in there, and we've got to get this done. So I understand we need legal, political, consultant, all of the above to make this happen, because again, it's been wasted long.
And I'm
I just want to make
Vice Chair.
sure that we're all aware of what we're getting into.
Right, and you all know my position, is to take a legal stance at this point, as well as the political, even though the FEMA administrator resigned today. So we've been trying to coordinate a meeting in DC with the FEMA administrator, but he resigned today, so once again, we're starting over with somebody else, so. But that's where we are, and, just wanted to kind of share that information with you all.
At this point, that might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it might not be a good thing. either.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've already said no.
Well,
Well, this is the local regional office out of Atlanta. So there's a North Carolina person, and then there's a regional office in Atlanta. But so on the political front, what we're trying to do is take two parallel tracks. We're trying to take the programmatic and legal track, and then we're also trying to use our legislative delegation to coordinate meetings with us. And our legislative delegation, our Senator Bud's office and Congressman Murphy's office, we're trying to take parallel tracks to get them involved to help facilitate meetings. But as I said, as they were working through that process with us, the administrator resigned. So now we'll wait and see who the new appointed interim administrator will be, and then help our delegation to help us facilitate a meeting from there.
and my question is, so that we will have an expectation, how long is this going to take, would you say? I know you may not be able to say, but I need I wanna have an expectation.
I have no earthly idea. The only thing I can tell you is I am doing everything I can on a daily basis to push this. FEMA knows I'm not pleased with them. They know I'm not pleased with them to the point that my emails now have reverted to where they have directed the state office of North Carolina Emergency Management sent a nice polite email and said I can't talk to them anymore unless I go through them first, which is fine. I'll do what they want, but I don't take no laying down, and so we're going through the process.
That was my favorite thing.
I mean, listen,
Opportunity. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, I was very frustrated to get the email, obviously. And I like exploring the political stuff. I do feel much better having Baker Donaldson here. I mean, I know enough about the firm to know its broad reputation, but the lead guy, and I'm not saying he's going to be the one billing most of the hours, but the lead guy here is the former general counsel of FEMA. So you can't really get a better expert on what we need to do than that. And so I know it's expensive, but my goodness, we've just got too much on the line here not to do it.
Well, that's what I have for my report. We'll get down to the other in the resolution, but just thank you all, and I will continue to keep you updated.
May the force be with you. May the force be with you. You know what I'm doing. All right, my niece, don't need some force. What am I doing now? Okay,
Consent item.
okay.
So we have a couple of changes, updates. So if you all would, I gave you an updated report on the new Newbern Towers. The report was done. We submitted an original report to you all, and then if you recall during the meeting, we updated that report. And so when staff went back to do their report, they used the previous report that was submitted opposed to the updated change reports, and that's why the numbers will work. That's why the numbers look the way they did. So right now, last month we had 100 units occupied. We had 5 move-ins and 1 move out. So we have 104 units occupied, and so this report is correct at this time. And then as it relates to
You're referring to the towers.
I'm referring to the towers. And then on the correction on Newbern, on Trent Court is so the report should say 106 opposed to 105 based on last month's report. If you all will make that change, and then we'll give you a updated written report in both those categories. Okay. Any other questions related to those 2 consent items?
Just a question. I noticed in both cases, Trent Court, there was no police report.
Yeah, I think
They never sent.
they
They never
you
said.
never got the police report.
But you got the one for, Newbern Tower.
Yeah, yeah, it's not for the police report.